Welcome, my name is Donna, and thank you for joining today's Tech Talk on natural language processing for accelerated lending. The agenda for today starts off with an introduction to IDEXCEL's capabilities. Then I will introduce our speaker, Tushar. Tushar will take up the presentation from then on to discuss the various NLP trends and how NLP can be leveraged in lending. He will also be covering 3 use cases. There will be a few poll questions in between to help us better understand our attendees. And we will have a dedicated section for question and answer towards the end of the presentation. But please feel free to type in your messages, your questions, if any comes up. Now, IDEXCEL is a professional services and technology solutions provider headquartered in Herndon, Virginia, with over 20 years of experience in implementing complex technologies. We are an AWS exclusive partner specializing in artificial intelligence, machine learning, data services, and cloud services for both commercial and public sector customers. We are also partners with Automation Anywhere exclusively for robotic process automation. Our RPA engineers are certified in Automation Anywhere at advanced level. Now, IDEXCEL is focused on supporting the AWS cloud. We are an advanced AWS partner and AWS reseller. We achieved AWS competencies in migration, DevOps, financial services, and are expecting 2 more by the end of this year. We are a recent AWS Redshift. We are recognized as a public sector partner with authorization to resell and service the AWS GovCloud. We are also a preferred partner for the Well-Architected Framework, or WAF program, and we're an Immersion Day partner. Now, here are the 4 core areas we specialize in with extensive expertise in migration, automation and AI, cloud native, and data modernization services. Among these, within automation and AI, invisible automation is our specialization, which focuses on combining both RPA and AI to deliver full-fledged automation solutions. Now let's get to know our speaker a bit. I now introduce you to Tushar Parekh, a data scientist from our team solving NLP use cases for our banking and financial services customers. Fun fact, Tushar loves to be engaged in recreational sports. So before I hand it over, I am going to go and give a quick, let's go with our first poll. Which category of lending are you directly or indirectly involved with? Commercial, personal, both, or none? Let's just give it like a minute or so everyone would have time to respond. Okay. Perfect. Right now it's 100% commercial. So, all right, Tushar, you have the floor.
Thank you, Donna. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'll be quickly introducing everyone as to what is NLP, what are the major NLP applications, and why NLP is growing. Then we'll get into the most important topic for the day, which is why NLP is important for lending processes and how NLP can be used in various phases of lending processes. And finally, we'll deep dive into a few sample use cases for NLP in financial and banking industry. Natural language processing, or NLP, is the intersection of computer science, linguistics, and machine learning. The field focuses on communication between computers and humans in natural language, and NLP is all about making computers understand and generate human language. Before understanding more about NLP, I would like to explain what is syntax and semantics. Syntax is a grammatical structure of the text, whereas semantics is the meaning being conveyed. A sentence that is syntactically correct, however, is not always semantically correct. For example, cows flow supremely is a practically grammatically valid sentence, like it has a subject, verb, adverb, but it doesn't make any sense. So for a sentence to make sense, we need the sentence. Coming back to NLP, the field is divided into three parts. Natural language understanding, that is the computer's ability to understand what we say. Natural language generation, which is the generation of natural language by a computer. And speech recognition, which is a translation of spoken language into text. Natural language understanding, or NLU, uses syntactic and semantic analysis of text and speech to determine the meaning of a sentence. Using such techniques, we are able to do popular tasks such as sentiment analysis or information extraction. We'll discuss in details about each of the tasks while we look at the use cases. Natural language generation, on the other hand, is the process of producing a human language text, which is based on some data input. Summarization of information, question and answering, machine translation are some of the tasks which is possible due to NLG. Speech recognition can be divided into four major steps. Analyze the audio, break it into parts, digitize into a computer readable format, and use an algorithm to match it to the most suitable text representation. Let's take an example. If we ask Siri or Alexa a question, it uses all three facets of NLP to give user a response to their query. First, using speech recognition, it converts the question or query into text, then NLU for understanding the question, and NLG to compose a response to the user. Now let's take a look at few of the latest trends in NLP. The most important trend, like for everyone in the financial industry, will be like to show how much is the rapid increase in NLP-based solution, the dollar amount invested. We can see that the graph is growing exponentially. By the year 2025, the estimation is that around $43 billion will be invested in NLP applications. Banking and financial services industry invests a quarter of this amount, which out of 17 billion in 2021 amounts to a whopping $4.5 billion market. So what is fueling the growth in NLP? Why are companies heavily investing in NLP-based solutions? One of the most important reasons is the need to digitize unstructured data. What do I mean by unstructured data? Unstructured data can be any document, any piece of textual or tabular information that's on a piece of paper, or it's even digitally present. Having this information in a digital format, but having no structure to it, no information to it, no meaning to it, it's very difficult for a computer to understand what it means. So what we do is we convert this information into digital format, extract some important information, generate some metadata associated to it. This information and this metadata helps a lot of business use cases. A lot of companies are looking to get rid of manual and legacy systems and move towards digital and cloud-based solutions. For that, all the predated information, which is still essential, needs to be converted into digital format, and hence digitizing of unstructured text is one of the biggest problems, and that's where a lot of companies are looking for more and more advanced solutions. Another reason is increasing adoption of chatbots for virtual assistants. Gartner has estimated that by end of 2021, around 47% companies would have adopted chatbots. Another important number from that report is that there is a reduction of cost for companies which is around 30% mark in their customer service department after deploying chatbots or virtual assistants. Question and answering, which is a very popular NLG task, is primarily used to solve this business problem. A lot of companies have heavily invested in training domain-specific knowledge for the chatbots to better respond to their customer queries. Chatbots are not only being used for customer support, but it's also being used in brand awareness, lead generation, and marketing activity as well. Having the customer's textual information through chatbots or transcripts through calls or with customer agents, NLP can also be used to do sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis on a high level can be classifying a piece of text into one of the three buckets, which can be negative, neutral, or positive. However, due to steady improvement in this field, we can understand much better nuance of the textual content by understanding sarcasm, tone, negations. All of this information can help an organization to determine and categorize opinions about products, services, or any future ideas. Advertisement in messaging apps is the next big thing. There has been a lot of growth, and companies are able to understand their target audience by doing contextual understanding of user messages. The next thing I want to talk about is how advancement in deep learning models, along with growth in computing power, have enabled us to better NLP model, which in turn gives us more accurate results. We can see that Elmo, which was one of the first significant language model, was trained sometime in 2018 on 94 million parameters. At that point of time, it was the state-of-the-art model. We can see an exponential growth from that point in terms of the model size. Few of the notable models that we have seen are GPT, BERT, Turing NLG. For representation purpose, we could not even include GPT-3, which has been the buzzword for 2021 in the field of NLP and AI. It was trained on 175 billion parameters. The next highest before that was Turing NLG, which was trained at 17 billion parameters. So now we know if we try to represent that, the graph would have been just too huge for us. Extensive research work from major players like Alphabet, Microsoft, OpenAI, Facebook, or Meta as we know as of today, have pushed the boundaries, and we are able to see better performing NLP solutions.
Okay, on to our second poll. Are you using any of the NLP-based solutions mentioned in the previous slides? Okay. Quick answers. Perfect, thank you. All right, so I'm ending the poll. Back to you.
Thanks once again, Donna. Coming to the part of presentation as to why we are here is to talk about how NLP can be leveraged in lending. We'll walk through major phases of lending process, and we'll discuss how in each step an NLP solution can help improve these processes. Starting with onboarding process, the first use case is customer acquisition. Over here, textual information is gathered either through social media or other online presence like Reddit or other microblogging sites. The solution then uses big data tools and employs advanced analytics and data science techniques to map the customer life cycle and obtain insights into customer behavior. Using marketing and cross-selling campaigns and portfolio management tactics, it enables the bank to tap into the fast-changing banking needs of clients automatically. Credit scoring is a completely different facet which can help to narrow down prospective customers. Using NLP and advanced analytics in the customer's digital footprint, we can generate credit scores, which is significantly different from SSN, but it can give a better or a different kind of perspective on how the credit repayment capability of the customer is. For KYC purposes, OCR and NLP are used in tandem, where a submitted document, that is, it can be a SSN card or a driver's license or passport, which in some case can be of different languages, we can extract information from this card. We can information like and we can cross-verify if the information submitted in the customer application matches to the information in the ID cards. Facial recognition is another aspect beyond NLP, which can be added to do a more comprehensive KYC. For example, we can extract the photo from ID document and try matching it to the photo submitted by the customer to see if it's a match. In the next phase, which is processing phase, we have two use cases which overlap in some NLP tasks, but both are important processes. Firstly, we understand there are huge amount of documents involved in processing the loans. It is very difficult to manage these documents for several different customers across different loan categories and different types of documents. Digitizing these documents will be a helpful way in speeding the loan application process. Even if these documents are submitted in digital format or a scanned copy is uploaded, we can process all the documents involved with loan applications like tax forms, ID proof, application form, or any other supporting documents such as affidavit to extract key information such as names, dates, tax information detail, SSN number, and verify the consistency of information across all the documents. This overall helps to speed up the application process. The next step will be to tag this document using document identification or topic modeling to classify and store the documents. Doing this will help the loan processing agent to identify if there are any missing documents. Another phase which we want to look at is monitoring of loans, which involves a lot of mundane tasks and requires a lot of manual effort. It can significantly benefit from using NLP solutions in audit and compliance processes. The bank can perform continuous audit of accounts and transactions by vetting financial statements to make sure that they comply with accounting regulations. Since the information and documents submitted by customers are tagged in the previous stage, it can facilitate searching across thousands of digital documents to allow compliance office swiftly determine whether regulations have been followed. Document vault is something which is useful beyond audit purpose, is used to keep a comprehensive customer profile. The last phase which we want to look over here is customer engagement, and it's the area where NLP has grown significantly across all industries, and we have seen reduced costs significantly. By having automated chatbots, we can help resolve simpler queries for the customer as to what is their account balance and payment due. The cost has reduced for the bank, and for the customer, the waiting time has also reduced. Reduced turnaround time have improved the customer experience and gives more comfort to the customers. The last aspect which we want to look at is customer pulse. It's a significant area for companies to determine the feedback of their customer as to what difficulty they are facing, how is their service in particular category, etc. All of this can be done using sentiment analysis across the feedbacks which we have received from the customer. The feedback can be transcripts from the call or from messages or chatbots to customer representatives. This helps institutions identify the scope of improvement and can improve their overall customer experience.
All right, on to our next poll. What type of information is required to be processed using NLP within your organization? Now, if the selection is others, please mention that type of document in the chat. Just give it a few moments. Okay, invoices and receipts win this one. All right, back to you.
All right. So let's take our first use case for the day, which is financial analyzer. Financial analyzer is a very peculiar NLP solution where we are solving the problems of financial institutions that need to analyze bank statements and financial statements to compute financial ratios. We get a lot of questions as to what problem does financial analyzer actually solve. Now, let me give you an example. If a financial institution wants to understand a company portfolio, it needs to generate all the financial ratios, which can be a time-consuming task. Also, the documents can be in different templates or can be in different language. So it is difficult to find the correct information. Using OCR, we can extract the raw information from any documents. However, only after using NLP, we can map this information into standard templates based on which we can compute different types of financial ratios. So for this, we can analyze the balance sheet, income statements, cash flow statements, etc., and map that information into standard templates. Computing ratios is just one part of the solutions. We can also send the mapped information as an API response, and we can build custom solutions on top of it to provide the requested information. Overall, the time taken for a human to do a similar task can be more than 30 minutes. However, using financial analyzer, we can reduce the time by 30-folds with an accuracy of more than 95%. The next use case which I would like to discuss with everyone is NLP for document search. NLP for document search is another use case which is highly sought out application since the number of documents with unstructured text present is constantly increasing. We can take an example here of loan processing, where we know that there are tons of documents like application form, ID proof, mortgage documents, house certificates. If the customer is purchasing a vehicle, there are different set of documents involved. Using NLP, we can process through all these documents to identify the key named entities, dates, and create topics for the documents that can help us to identify and index and classify the documents. This information can be stored in key value or a database. We make sure that if application form has name XYZ, but the ID doc says name ABC, we can red flag that document and identify such fraudulent behaviors. Overall, these process streamlines the documentation process, and also retrieval of information becomes much more efficient. With intelligent document indexing, institutes can easily integrate an AI-powered framework for processing information, reducing the overall time required to process a loan significantly. The last use case for the day is analyze contracts. For this use case, we are analyzing contracts. A contract can be a lending document, NDA, or any other legal document. And these documents can be of hundreds of thousands of pages as well. It doesn't really matter to the machine. Such documents have multiple clauses which are dependent on other aspects. It also has sub-clauses and other minor terms and conditions. For a human to have complete understanding for such document is quite an impossible task. Using information extractions, we can extract important information such as named entities, dates involved, and important clauses for the terms of agreement. all of these informations are extracted in a structured format. We are also able to extract specific relationship between these entities. Imagine having to go through all the legal documents to find legal precedents to validate your current case. It can be a highly time-consuming task and will miss out on important information. Information extraction sometimes can help us find hidden gems of information, which even a trained eye can miss while reading through the documents. We can also do information summarization of such contracts to get a summary for the document with only key and important details which are part of the documents. Besides the document being digitized, we can significantly reduce the cost and effort required for analyzing a contract.
All right, and for our fourth and final poll, do you agree that your company's productivity will be positively impacted due to NLP use? Let's give it a few more seconds. Perfect, thank you, and that's a great deal. Go ahead, Tushar, back to you. All right, so now this is the dedicated time for questions. So go ahead, please post your questions via chat. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into chat. Okay, Tushar, I don't see any questions. Okay, everyone, thank you very much, Tushar, for the very detailed presentation. And thank you all for joining us today. We hope we were able to meet your expectations and answer any questions you might have had. Now visit our website, idexcel.com, to know more about us. That's idexcel.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. That's at linkedin.com/company/idexcel-inc. And our Twitter handle is at idexcel. Now this concludes today's Tech Talk. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, guys.